This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today we're going back to our shows as they go, which today I want to talk about the Sculptor. Now, this is a reference that I often bring up, maybe in coaching calls or in conversations that allow us to sort of step back and see things with a different lens. I suppose the metaphor or the analogy of the sculptor is that the sculpture is already inside the brick of stone that the sculptor sculpts, right? And what that sculptor does, what that sculptor does is chip away at the stone that isn't necessary to bring out the greatness of the sculpture, right? Now, the beauty of that analogy is that it applies to us. We can be the sculptor of our own lives, of our own self, our own being, our own person. The thing is that it's our job to chip away at the parts of us that actually aren't us, that are actually hiding our greatness, right? Because the beautiful, great, amazing statue is already there. It's just the stuff that's in its way that we can't see it, that's covering it up. But it's our job to chip away at that, right? And we can't do it all at once. We at least have to chip away every single fucking day, right? And I remember there being this amazing sculpture, and it was like a really amazing picture. It was a very muscular, masculine kind of guy, he's chipping away at his own sculpture, right? Which is, I suppose, if somebody made that, I just remember seeing a picture of it. It is quite a phenomenal piece of work, but it really is there to, we have to do it ourselves. We have to chip away at the parts of us that are holding our greatness, our potential, our beauty, our gift, whatever word you want to use, back. Because there is so many of us, if not all of us, myself included, that let shit get in the way of our potential. The reality is that we know it. Now, I had this conversation the other day. Someone's like, well, how do I know if I'm just being realistic? It's like, well, that's a filter. What's realistic? It's still a filter, and it's still a judgment on behalf of an individual. So it's moving past that. It's moving past this idea of, I know what's realistic. It's like, if we only did things that were realistic, we would never move forward as a society. 100 years ago, to say that I could broadcast my voice through a podcast, and we could, things like YouTube and flying planes and going to the moon and all the things that we live and we take for granted now. What we have in the palm of our hand is our phone, right? All of these things were unrealistic. So the beautiful thing about this is that for us, it's our job to chip away at our greatness and our potential, and it takes time. Getting through the shit takes time. We can overhaul it. We can go through programs and really intense periods of learning and growth and development. But even after that, there's still periods of growth and development. And that's why they're called rabbit holes, right? Because when you go down one, there's more, but you can't get further down. You can't get to the deeper stone without chipping away at the more superficial stone first. I mean, the analogy rings true for all of us, for always doing the work. And so often I've been chipping away for so long and I'm still not at my potential. It's like, stop focusing on what you're not and where you're not and who you think. Stop focusing on all of that and just get to work, because at some point you'll get lost in the work. You'll forget about the outcome, right? And you'll just do what's true for you, and then all of a sudden you've got this beautiful piece of work in front of you. That's getting lost in the process. That's loving the process. Because we have to remember, and I was talking to this with someone yesterday, it's like, for example, let's look at bodybuilding, which is a phenomenal sport in many ways. It has its own criticisms, and fair enough, but it's in itself, it's a phenomenal sport. The discipline required and the knowledge and all that sort of stuff is phenomenal. And people often look at that and they go, I want that. It's like, no, you're looking at the outcome, mate. I know you say you want the outcome, but we never want to look at the outcome. It's like you got to want the process. Just Google ballet's feet, right? A ballerina's feet, like whatever it is that you need to Google to see that picture. You got to want that, right? All bloodied and nails broken and like taped up, right? Disfigured, all that. That's what you got to want, not the finished product. You got to want the dirt, not just the sky. Hey. And so the thing about it is that we can often get stuck on thinking that we want the finished product of the sculpture, not realizing that actually doing the work gets us the sculpture. Avoiding the work, avoiding chipping away at the parts of us, avoiding doing the physical labor driven by the mental and emotional and heartfelt drives within us will get us to where we want to be, but we've got to stop focusing on just the finished outcome, right? Because we put so much value on it that we never live now. Whereas to get the finished outcomes, whatever that is, we have to be able to focus on what we're doing now. Think macro and act micro. So keep the big picture in mind, but keep chipping away and do the work today that you know you need to do that's right for you. Hey, it's the same thing that in 2 years' time, you're going to thank yourself for starting now. There's no right time to start. You just start and you just keep moving, as awkward and as clunky as it is, right? By yourself, with a group, with a coach, whoever, right? And I suppose that's another thing, is never be afraid to put up your hand and ask for help. In any sense of the word. Vulnerability really is strength, right? And everyone's a beginner. Everyone's a beginner. At some stage, you have to be a beginner. And some of us are so fantastic at some areas in our life, in our professional endeavors, whatever it may be, that we just fucking suck at these other things. And we hate the idea of going back and being a beginner. But you don't realize that you just are anyway. You're not going back and being a beginner. You just fucking are, but you're just not doing anything. You can either be a beginner that's learning or be a beginner that's ignorant. But either way, you're a beginner. You're not getting out of the chance. Like, if you're not focusing, you're a beginner. At least if you're focusing and learning, remove your ego and allow yourself to just start chipping away. Give the world what it deserves to see, what it deserves to have. If all of us allow ourselves to actually fully give our gifts, fully get the fuck out of our own way, and fully give, right? Projection, not attract. That'll happen. Attraction is actually an outcome of projection, right? Of what we give. Doesn't mean that it's not important. It means that it's not the first fucking step. I treat people how they treat me. No, that's actually, well, you can go for it, do what you want to do. But that's going, I'm going to wait for people and then I'm going to be reactive. No, I'll treat people how I want to be treated. It's really simple. And if I'm out of line, I want people to let me know. They can tell me what they think and I'll do the same. But you're not always right, David. It's like, yeah, I know. Like, that's not the point. The point is making sure that I'm making decisions based on my life and what I want to do. In doing so, if people aren't happy with that, that's them. That's theirs. It's not mine. It's the whole idea of, I had this conversation again. I don't know how many times I said that. I don't need to say it anymore. Someone taking offense. It's like, well, it's not given. I'm not giving offense. They just take it. Right? It's taken. It's very different. People take offense. Mate, it wasn't fucking offered. You just took it. It's got nothing to do with me. And a lot of the time, people take offense with what we want to do with our lives. It's got nothing to do with you. But their opinions are X, Y, and Z. It's got fucking little to do with you. You've taken your eyes off the prize and put value of other people's opinion, right, of how they think your sculpture should look like. Or they're getting you to make their sculpture. People are getting you to make their sculpture. And as long as you're making someone else's sculpture, you can't make yours. On that note, team, I am done. Thank you very much for tuning in. The Mood Prep Live the Mood Prep Live seminar in Sydney on the 21st and 22nd is now live. You can grab tickets. It's 2 for 1. Tickets are until the 28th of July. That will be, you can buy tickets through my Instagram at ddnix or on my website, davenixon.com.au. Go to the seminars tab and go from there. But it is 2 for 1 tickets until 20th of July. So if you plan on coming, you're in Sydney and you're free that weekend, highly recommend to get along. We're going to go through a whole heap of this sort of stuff. But on that note, team, I am done. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time, peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, and slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be